sorry. And you can hear in the back. Okay, my job is just to kind of give you a basic overview of owls in general, how incredible they are. See if I got this working. Yeah, so this is a short class in Owl-ology 101. You can put it on your resume.
Awesome.
Next time you apply for a job, they'll go, wow, you got a degree in Owl-ology 101? So yes. So anyway, this is an overview of how incredible these animals are, how they have silent flight. Okay, they have silent flight. Most birds, crows, hawks, whatever, you can hear the flapping. An owl, it's got a serrated feather that's very soft edged. So if you're that mouse, if you're that mouse down in the leaves at night, you never hear your death coming. Now, to me, that's the way I want to go. I want to go quick and boom, gone. I'm not too happy if I've been swallowed whole, but other than that, I can't imagine. So they have silent flight. Look at that face. Look at, they have a facial disc or facial ruff, which so they can hear things. They actually probably hear the mouse before they see it and kill it. So they're constantly, what does that remind you of? That facial ruff, that round disc. It's, it took us years to come up with a satellite dish, but they were born with it. So they're up there, taking in sounds, taking in sounds, taking in sounds. This is a photograph of an owl's skull. Don't worry, stay put over there. This is a photograph of an owl's skull. Take a good look at it. It's all eye socket. They have two monster-sized eyes and a little. I know we like to think of owls as being sitting up there, being incredibly wise, thinking about the meaning of life. Nah, they're thinking about, what did I just see? What did I just see? Huge, huge eye sockets, and and your occipital lobe is in the back here, and that's what we have one too. That's what, and we interpret what we see. But that's the most of their brain interprets what they see with these monster big eyes. I'll have this up here if you want to look at it later. So you can go home and say, I held an owl skull. My goodness. What is the owl's eye? It's not like your eye, kind of roundish. They're roughly shaped like a pear, with the small eye, the small edge roughly shaped. The small end is what we do see, but the retina is huge and round behind it. So that's why it fills up those eye sockets. So they can't see in total darkness, but any kind of tiny light, they go, whoa, that looks yummy. If you're into mice, And their ears are special too. They're offset. Our ears tend to be same level, unless you're born in the Smoky Mountains, like I was. I mean, they're a little off. Anyway, it's all that inherent marrying your cousin stuff. Anyway, what are you gonna do? The only person, the only female you know is your cousin. Anyway, so they're offset, and what that does is enable them to exactly pinpoint where they hear the sound. Like that. So they typically do hear first, and then they turn and see, and then they launch. Look at that gorgeous bird. You can see one just like it shortly. That's a great horned owl. That's the largest one in the area. But you'll see that the left ear is just a little lower than the right ear. So it really can fixate on sound exactly where it's at. And look at this. I know it does seem they can spin that head all the way around like Wheel of Fortune. But if you're of a certain age, there's two shows Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. If you go dead, that's just it. Come on. Anyway, I used to be able to do 180. But that's starting to be a little creepy. But they can do 270.
Wow.
They can turn 270 degrees around, and the reason why, they have more neck vertebra, more swivel points. You and I have 7 neck vertebra, and as I learned from Chris yesterday, even a giraffe has 7 neck vertebrae. So all mammals have 7. Owls have 14 neck vertebrae. So they can really swivel around and look at everything around them. What do we got here? Oh, yum. They have very, very, very interesting digestive system. They can't chew their food, and they tend to chew big hunks, either a whole mouse or they rip it apart and swallow it first. They typically do swallow the front end first, because that's where the brain of the mouse is, and the brain has the most nutrition. Just keep that in mind, in case there's a question on Jeopardy. They tend to swallow the front end of the mouse first, because the brain has the most nutrition, and then they go ahead and swallow the back end. But anyway, their stomachs basically squeeze out all the nutrition in their tongues. So what's left in their tongues is the non-nutritional thing, the bones and the fur. So they end up with what's called an owl pellet, and they cannot eat again another meal until they regurgitate that pellet. Oh, it's lovely. Just think of that when you eat lunch in a minute. Anyway, that is the great horned owl's pellet, and that's my house key. As a and I've been looking for that key for a long time. Now where's that? It's laying beside the owl pellet. But anyway, they have to regurgitate the pellet first, and that's really just fur and furry bones. Now, interesting, in February we'll have a vulture here.
Yes.
In February we'll have a vulture. They have such strong stomach acids. They don't have to they can digest fur bones. So that's a vulture, and they're very smart too. Hmm? Oh, I love this question. What is your first name?
Maryland.
Marilyn, thank you. Does that mean owls don't poop? No. Everything else that goes, Marilyn's just full of questions. That's why she likes the front row. Anyway, no, owls do poop. And as I said, this is another Jeopardy question. One of the fascinating things about birds poop and pee at the same time. Think of it. How convenient. You're not doing one, waiting on the other. So the next time you see, how much time do we spend there waiting on the other? Anyway. And then finally, owls have they look like they're full body, but they're really not. They're just puff balls, really, just feathers. Lisa will probably demonstrate with her barred owl where the real bird is in it. But and they have very, very long legs for bouncing around on the trees up there. Anyway, they're puff balls. That's what keeps them warm. That's what really keeps most birds warm. Their tiny body just covered with 3 layers of feathers. And then finally, we're all in East Tennessee. I think we're still in East Tennessee. We have 6 species of owls that are seeable in East Tennessee. The bottom one, the short-eared owl, is only here in the wintertime, and it's a meadow owl. It can be seen maybe at Kate's Cove or at 7 Islands where there's a meadow. Word usually gets out, there's a short-eared owl, and you drive out there at about dusk and you can see them fluttering. So that's a short-eared owl. And then the northern saw-whet owl, they live at the top of the Great Smoky Mountains. That's where they nest. They're very high up. They're actually smaller than the screech owls you're getting ready to see shortly. They're smaller than the screech owl, and they live up there around Newfound Gap along the Appalachian Trail. So that's the 6. I think we're done. Yes, we're done. How do you want to get going, Lise? Okay.
Okay.
This is really what you came for, not to hear me
That
rattle
is
on.
not true. You were very informative. He is. He's great. Okay, so
Thank you,
I am
Marilyn.
Lisa, and this is my husband Chris, and we have another co-worker, and she's not here with us today. Her name's Laura Miss, but we are a 501c Raptor Rehab Center. rehabbing birds of prey for about 8 years now. In the past couple of years, we are now the only bald eagle rehabbers in this whole area until you get to Memphis. There are other places that have bald eagles, but they do not treat incoming injured bald eagles. That's what we do, we're a hospital. So before we started rehabbing bald eagles, we were doing about 150 or so birds a year. I think we're gonna hit about 155, 160 this year if things keep going. I think we're up to 155 already, maybe yeah. But what is a raptor? A raptor is a bird of prey, hooked feet, strong feet generally, excluding vultures. They are extremely important to our ecosystem. They are nature's balance. We need predators. Like I said, we care for about 150, 160 birds a year. Generally, they are in care about 4 to 6 weeks, but lately we've had couple of months, 3 months recovery on these birds. We have gotten in 4 barred owls in the last few days. All of them been hit by cars. We got in 3 screech owls the week before, and we're just hopping. And usually this is our slow time where we wind down and actually do stuff and have lives, but that's not happening. We're staying really busy. I think it kind of turned cold fast this year, and birds have to expend a lot of energy to stay warm, so they're really hunting a lot more to feed that fire, and we're just getting a lot of birds right now. Stephen talked to you guys about the 270-degree head rotation. You'll see that today, especially with our barn owl. She's always putting her face on backwards for everybody and swiveling her head. All of the birds of prey that we brought here today, excluding the kestrel and the barn owl, have pretty big eyes, and their eyes are 5% of their body weight, as where ours are 0.0003%. So we humans have little bitty eyes in comparison. Silent flight, like Stephen was talking about, let me get this out so I can show you guys. These are just some birds, feathers obviously, but all of the birds in care, they molt once a year, so I just collect them, and legally I can have these. But you guys can't, and my friend calls them felony feathers. This is a bald eagle, okay? So big and long, but almost sharp. So when we have a bald eagle in rehabilitation, especially a big female, because in the bird of prey world, the girls are about 25% bigger than the boys, excluding vultures. Okay, so if we have a big female bald eagle, it's like an Airbus out there in the flight. I mean, they have to get a good start. It's owls. Okay, this is a hawk feather. It's smaller, but still sharp. Vulture. All right, this is a great horned owl secondary feather. So this feather is not a primary, so it doesn't have that forward-facing cone like Stephen showed you on the barn.
This is a barn owl feather.
Yes, almost like teeth. So that dampens sound and it disrupts the wind turbulence, and then these primary feathers are real velvety. They're very different from an eagle's feather, and that also dampens sound.
These are very velvety on the back edge, so combed on the leading edge and soft on the back edge.
Yes, and they feel fantastic. If you guys want, I can pass these around.
Yeah,
Be careful with them. Okay. It is a myth that owls cannot see well in the daytime. They see perfectly fine in the daytime, but they see superb at nighttime, up to 100 times better than we humans do with our weak eyes. Okay. So yes, they are colorblind at night. They have vision like a cat, kind of shades of gray. Your hawks, your eagles, and your falcons see in color, and also see in UV. So you'll meet a bird today that can see in UV and follow a urine trail, which sounds like great fun to me. Let's pass these around just so you guys can get a feel. Oh, sorry. Oh, if you'll ask me that in about 3 minutes, I'm going to get a bird out that will show you the nictitating membrane. All right, so owls swallow their food whole, like Stephen was talking about. They usually go head first. If it's something really big, all birds of prey, if it's something really big, they'll use those big strong feet to stand on it and tear strips that they can swallow whole. Their beaks go through a knife like butter. It's pretty impressive. But their main weapon is their feet. Their feet are extremely powerful. They are thought to be able to hear sounds up to 10 miles away. They are also thought to be able to have the ability to see one single match if you lit it in the dark, in the dead of night, 1.5 miles away, which is incredible. So let me get Little Dude out. He'll probably be loud. So get your cameras ready because he's a hooter. So let me go get him. Okay, guys. This is Little Dude, also known as Maneuver. He is our oldest ambassador. He is 19 as of this year. Little Dude could live to be around 25 in captivity. So we're hoping he lives forever and he's just immortal because we love it so much. Will you talk? Will you say hello? He's very hooty normally. Will you talk?
No.
Yesterday we did a program and he hooted 3 times into the microphone.
Wow.
Yeah. So today he went, that's what you get. No, I'll try again in a second. Nictitating membrane. Everybody see his? When he blinks, he's got really big ones.
It's the inner.
Yes, so it's just that, a lot of people call it a third eye, just slides over. It's nature's windshield wipers. It keeps his eyes free of debris and hazards. And just keeps
All
the
of the owls
walls.
have that feature.
Yes.
It's just more obvious on Little Dude because of his dark eye and his
Yes.
blue white membrane. The other ones, it's a little less obvious. It's more like a cat's.
Bars of color across the breast, not a very inventive name. These guys are super successful. They're very common, they're very vocal. A little known fact, or at least I didn't know it for a long time, is Harriet Tubman, who operated the Underground Railroad, was supposedly a naturalist and knew a lot about all kinds of plants and animals. She supposedly, historians think that she used the call of the barred owl to let enslaved people that were hiding in the woods, let them know it was safe to come out, which I thought was super cool. And I did not know that. I read that in Audubon magazine. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. He's thinking about it. He starts to bullfrog when he's going to hoot, so he's thinking about it. I would like to show you guys his ears. There are a lot of people here, so just bear with me, and I'm gonna start back here and work my way up. What Stephen was saying about their ears, there's just a canal, and they're right on the edge of the face disc. All owls have some kind of face disc, and that's where their ears hide. So when it starts to change texture, right around there on the edge, right directly behind the eyes, that's where their little ears hide. His ears aren't little, they're pretty big. But let me start back here and I'll work my way up because I want you guys to see them. So Little Dude has 4 toes on each foot. They all do. You're okay, Mr. Man. You're okay.
So their face disc serves the same function that our outer ear serves. It's just their entire face is the outer ear. So they have the ear canal that she's trying to show people back there, just like we do. But the pinna, the outer ear, is the entire facial disc to channel sound to those ears. It's very good at what it does. Like Stephen was saying, like a satellite dish. Yeah.
So if Little Dude was living in the wild, he would be eating a lot of crawfish, little minnows, little snakes, little worms, and of course mice. And frogs, like people like to eat frog legs, Little Dude likes to eat the whole frog. I'm gonna keep moving. Did you see that? Okay. I'm gonna keep moving.
What do you feed?
I feed a lot of rodents, but he also has the opportunity to eat birds sometimes, which he enjoys. He tears their heads off and pulls their wings off. They're dead already. I don't feed him. I don't feed him my birds. Like quail, that kind of thing. He prefers mice, but we also put minnows in his pool. But he's old, so he just kind of watches them like TV. He doesn't seem to be interested in actually fishing for them. But when we have young barred owls in care to prepare them for the wild, here you go, guys. When we have young barred owls in care to prepare them for the wild, we furnish a pool with fish in it because these owls like to eat a lot of fish. And the babies jump right in there.
And in the wild, barred owls do like to live near ponds or lakes or creeks. They eat a lot of fish and crawdads, as you said. And when they eat too many crawdads, they'll actually sometimes take on a pink coloration in their feathers, like a flamingo does when they eat too many shrimp. It occurs in barred owls that they get a little pink coloration sometimes.
Hang on, he's gonna turn his head around so I can't access his ears.
They use their talons to pluck them out of the shallow water. They don't fish dynamically like bald eagles or osprey do, where they hit the water at a full tilt. They tend to lurk in the shallows and pluck things out as they go. He was 19 years old, yes. They can live, about 20, 25 generally. I know it says 30 on here, but that's an outlier. That's in captivity. In the wild, it's closer to 10
Willie
to
is so
15.
tolerant, letting dig around in his face is. But he's my man, we're pretty tight. Can you turn around, please?
Oh, you wanna see the?
Will you take a minute, please? So his eyes are actually dark brown, they look black in this light, but in the sunshine, you can see that he's got really dark brown ears. Oh, eyes, I'm sorry. So he has a round head, as you all noticed. He's my man. And I love on him every day because he's an ambassador bird and I want to maintain that bond with him. A wild bird of prey would have killed me by now, so I don't handle them outside of giving injections, first I say broken bones, that kind of thing. But hands off otherwise, because you don't want them to associate people with anything good, because we are not anything good for any of these guys. So a little dude, you can see his big satellite dishes here, so I think he looks like cinnamon rolls or little honey buns. No, he's my boy. He came from one of my mentors, Lynn McCoy. Does anybody know Lynn? She rehabbed for 30 plus years in the Jefferson City area, and she passed away from cancer. And before she passed away, she asked us to take little dude, and of course I said absolutely yes, as an ambassador bird. And for a full 12 months, he would not bond with me at all, because I wasn't his person. So before Lynn died, she came over, and this is a true story, I swear. Something clicked in his little barred owl mind, and she must have told him, whispered to him that I was not a bad person and I was okay. Because ever since that very day, he started talking to me and hooting and just,
That did not transfer to me, by the way. It's, I've tolerated, but not loved like that.
I tried to get him to talk to you guys, but he went, ooh, will you say hey now? Oh. There you go.
And it is the well-known bar owl called
Yes.
Who Cooks For You, Who Cooks For You All. And they are talkative owls. They're one of the most talkative of the owls.
That was awesome.
In early spring, you can hear them talking, and sometimes we'll get 5 or 6 talking just around our house there. And little dude will join in, and Lisa will join in, and I've even been known to attempt it, but I don't do as good a one as she does.
Everybody meet Battle Beak Thunderclaw. My son named him, Beak is 7 years old, and my son Hayden said, he looks like a Battle Beak Thunderclaw. And I said, okay, we'll call him that. So I say Beak, I don't say, oh, Battle Beak Thunderclaw stuff all the time. He is a great horned owl, he's a male. So he's a hair smaller than what a female great horned owl would be. These guys are nicknamed Tigers of the Sky. It is a very well-earned nickname. They are known for their ferocity. They are devoted to their mate, and most birds of prey mate for life, and he is one of them. They're very devoted to their mates, very devoted to their owlets. He's so handsome, look at him. So he is different from the little dude in weight and physical characteristics. He doesn't have a round head. He has these, which tells you he's a man, an adult. The females have big long ones too, but when they're owlets, they just have these little knobs that almost look like emerging devil horns. But his devil horns are all the way up, and he's an adult. So he's got a, so even though he's smaller than a female, his voice box is bigger than a female, so you can hear a male great horned owl call about 2 miles away. It's always a, and right now, oh, Chris is gonna play it for you. Here's my invitation. What is that? So they're reaffirming their pair bonds right now. So if you hear a lot of hooting going on and it's horned owls, they're calling back and forth between each other because they kind of take a break from each other after they raise their owlets. They stay in the same area. At this time of year, they're cementing their bond, and the female will be on eggs in January. At precisely about the same time as the bald eagle. That is pertinent because they don't build their own nest. So if they see a pair-bonded bald eagle, you know, building their nest, male and female, they might be like, man, that's nice. I think I'd like to have that.
None of the owls are nest builders. They all will use either tree hollows or a nest from another animal.
Yeah, or cliff faces, or even the beginning of a cave, like out of a cave, confuses in his. So these guys will haze bald eagles. They're about half the size of a bald eagle, but they will haze bald eagles. They win some of those fights, believe it or not. The reason being, they're packing serious heat here. They've got about 100 pounds more power in their talons than even a bald eagle does. And I've handled some bald eagles, and I've handled a whole lot of great horned owls, and they are strong. If they've got you, let's hope you got big thick gloves on, you just wait them out, because they're not, I mean, it takes like 26 pounds pressure to open their grip or something insane.
They can do up to 500 pounds of pressure per
What's the
spray.
average
With
man instrument, adult?
The average human male can get about 100 to 120 pounds.
Yeah.
So
So,
5 times the strength and those sharp
Yeah.
claws he's got there, talons.
and it is true. I had a big female great horned owl go through a Kevlar line glove over at UT one time and get me right at the elbow, and it took me to the floor, and I will never forget it as long as I live. But it made me respectful, and it was a learning experience. So, anyway, what they will do with bald eagles is there's a lot of posturing, trash talking, and they do it with red-tailed hawks too. They will lock up talons with them and just mix it up. I mean, they are brave, and if they get the first egg laid, they've got that nest. They've got that nest. So they're amazing. They have one of the most varied diets in the bird of prey world. They like to eat other birds, snakes, skunks. They can't smell good. Great horned owls have very poor sense of smell. Most birds of prey do have very poor sense of smell, except for vultures, of course. But he can't smell, so he likes skunk. A lot of times if we get a wild great horned owl in, they've killed a skunk on the road and got hit by a car. So they've been sprayed, and when I drive them home, and it's something, let me tell you, it's something. Yeah, and they don't care, they're just kicking it in there. They're just sad they got hit by a car. But if you look at him, he's got these really vivid yellow eyes, as to where little dude had dark eyes. My mentor always taught me the darker the eye, the later the bird comes out at night. And I have seen a lot of great horned owls in the daylight. Not midday, but twilight, right before dawn and stuff. But horned owls have the largest eyes of any owl. And you can see they're pretty vivid. And he's beautiful. And he's heavily feathered, so his feet look like they have fur on them, like a Muppet or something. But he's just heavily feathered. And he is impervious to cold. If I put him in a walk-in freezer and came back 3 days later, as long as he had food, he would be totally kicked back in there and loving it. So because of that, he has a really large shady enclosure with a big bathing pool and a lot of perches and a lot of ways to get out of the heat. Very shady, because he gets hot. And when we work programs in the summertime or we're outside, I have to bring fans that keep on him the whole time. But I think he's exquisitely beautiful, you guys.
How much does he weigh?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that. How much do you guys think little dude weighs? Little dude the barred owl that hooted so sweetly for you all weighs 1.5 pounds.
No.
Yes. And I forgot to show you how heavily insulated he is, because you can stick your whole finger in there before you touch little dude, and it's real warm in there. Same thing with him. You guys say it on your face. What was I saying? He weighs almost 5 pounds. He's really heavy. That's why when I hold him, I lock my elbow into my hip and I just sort of brace for weight. He's like a big rotisserie chicken on you. Except one that's got big talons and sharp teeth.
Lisa mentioned the very full-grown skunks. They are very strong flyers as well as their grip strength. They can carry 1.4 times, so about
He could carry
half again his
several,
own weight. So.
yeah, he could carry, what, 6-7 pounds and get off the ground with it, if he wanted to. That doesn't mean he's going after your dog or your cat, okay? The only time I've ever seen anything like that, and I've been doing this for a minute, is when a big bird like this has a broken leg or a broken wing and can't provide for themselves. Then they get desperate. But cats and dogs aren't on the menu. I mean, he wants a rabbit, he wants a squirrel, he wants stuff like that, or a good skunk. So see how he's panting now? He's warm. So let me move on and go get some little bitty guys.
One thing I don't think she mentioned was the lifespan on the great horned owl. They are apex predators of the night sky, so they are extremely long-lived as well in the wild. They'll live 20 to 30 years. In captivity, the record is 50 years for a great horned owl. So with Beak being 7 years old and both of us in our 50s, we're going to have to take some nursing home with us probably.
That's a great question. Do you want me to ask?
Do they ever tag them? Do they ever tag the?
Do they tag them?
Yeah.
We don't have that capability. You have to become a master bander to do that. And it's through the U.S. Geological Society that you get your banding permit. We have tagged some kestrels and barn owls through Seven Islands with their bandering, but we haven't banded any great owls.
I can't do it to you. So we travel with tree bark and skulls and all kinds of fun things. You'll understand why about the tree bark in just a second. Okay.
So we moved on to
Steven's
the
coming
eastern
on.
screech owls. This being Fizgig, is a female gray morph eastern screech owl. They do come in two different color variations here, the gray and the red, as you'll see here. That has nothing to do with their gender. They will come in even in the same clutch of eggs. They can be gray and red colorations. But it does give them advantages in different types of forests. You can see that the red morph will blend in better in a pine or cedar forest, whereas the gray morph would have advantages in a hardwood, maple, or oak forest. These are
You
full
have a
grown.
gray male or female.
These are
Their
full-
color does not mean if they're male or female. You can go either way. That's Okay. So Nugget is a 7-year-old male red-faced. Fizgig is a 4-year-old gray-faced. Now remember when we were talking about how the females are about 25% bigger? If Chris can get beside Nugget here, you'll see how much bigger she is than him. She also laid 4 eggs this year for the first time ever, and they weren't fertile because we don't breed, but we pulled her eggs and put 4 orphan screech owlets in with her, and she raised them, and I didn't touch them. So they're wild as bucks when it was time for release. It is perfect.
You
It's
can see
perfect.
the gray one here is a little bit larger than the red, that's the gender. That's the easiest way to tell the gender in owls and birds of prey in general is by size. So they'll usually be 20 to 25% bigger. You'll notice they have the plumage horns, or horns like the great horned owl do.
Their cryptic coloration is just amazing. So these guys hide a lot. If they don't want to be seen, they'll sit up really straight and raise their unicorns and make themselves very slender to hide from predators. And I forgot to tell you guys, I mentioned that Fizgig raised 4 babies this past year because we pulled her not fertilized eggs and put the orphans in with her and she raised them. Battlebeak Thunderclaw, the horned owl, he's raised 7 great horned owlets over the years. 7. Because in the wild, the male and the females work cooperatively together. So he didn't carry his weight, he didn't put it over my ideas. He was like, hey, I've got babies.
That allows us to be very hands-off and
Yes.
not expose them to human contact, which is a good thing. So when the owls will do the fostering for us, that really frees us up to not handle expose them to humans.
Thank you for your special work.
Oh, thank you guys. We love what we do. I can hardly go off tangent, so. It's all right.
You just go right ahead. Wow. That is so
So Nugget back there, little red face now, he is a pro. You could throw a grenade in here. Yeah, he's the best flipper.
Now is it?
Nugget's 7. Yeah, he's 7. His next tree was cut down, Nugget's was. And I can tell you guys my stories eventually, but he was the only survivor in the whole tree. The tree hit the ground really hard, killed all his siblings and his mother. Yeah, so we raised him, he's got a little bit of a shoulder injury. He gets around really good, you can't even tell, except when he's trying to fly like really fast, and he's off, so he couldn't live in the house.
Is his calm demeanor because he's an ambassador bird or because that's their nature?
Hunting, providing
The
food.
males are generally calmer and more chilled out than the females. The females guard the nest in the wild, and they're just more, yeah, they're more fierce. And he's just a good boy, you know, and he's sweet. When I go in there, he'll go, oh, he's a cutie. I'm gonna try to do a screech out call for you guys. Bear with me. Chris has also got the sound machine up there if I totally failed. Okay. That's a screech out. And if you're hearing that, you've got screech owls. There it is.
Wow, you sounded just like that.
So Nugget will answer me when I do that. He'll coo back. Yeah, when I go out on the porch, Nugget and Nugget, and Little Dude, and usually Thistle, you all haven't met yet, will all call out, and we just talk. These guys love nest boxes. I'm sure you all sell something like that.
Yeah, that's what your donation box is.
Okay. If you live urban or if you live rural, screech owls don't care. If you live in the city, they'll eat cockroaches and lots of mice and gross stuff, which is great. If you live in the country, lots of field mice. They love a nest box because they want to hide and be secretive and not be discovered by a predator like a great horned owl or a red-tailed hawk or a spur raccoon. So if you put up a nest box, you're giving them a good place to lay eggs and raise owlets. And if they do so successfully, they'll come back every year.
How high then, what's the elevation of that nest?
15 feet high at least, and not facing north, and I would put a baffle up. We have a friend on the road, and he's had kestrels nesting in his nest box for 3 years. Yeah, but he kept losing some to a big black snake, so we put a baffle up. They're 100% poison out now. Everybody, and all of those birds need help because they're in habitat and all kinds of things. Let me let's see if you can just say they will.
Her shoes happy. Again, this is a red-tailed screech owl. And this is the kind
They do have muscular control over their plumicorns or horns, as well as the feathers around their beak. They can raise and lower those to help change their texture to blend in with the tree bark as well. So if they don't want to be seen, they'll stand up really tall and straight, extend those horns, and ruffle up those feathers around the beak. And they really do become pretty invisible. But aside from camouflage, they do also show expression. So they use them to show whether they're angry or upset or calm. Oh yeah, that's her usual. We call that resting bird face.
Oh, look at that beautiful thing.
Notice the bristles around its bill. Those are feathers.
Lisa, I have a question about the screech owls. So then the way that they blend in with that bark, do they actually know that? Do they look for that particular color?
When they are trying to season or raise their food, they need to make sure customers and then
Big old
Really?
eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know, because they see shades of gray, you know, I don't know if they see yellow.
They have a, something to do with,
They are awesome. I'm gonna get to see them.
which operations
That makes sense, yeah. Okay.
they're more successful.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I brought one day shift worker. This is Astrid. She's on the day shift. She is an American kestrel. She is the smallest falcon in the country. She's a lot different from an owl. She's got crisscross applesauce wings in the back. She's made for speed. She is a falcon, so she can move really fast when she wants to. Like a peregrine, she can dive. She can also do a cool hunting technique called a hover. So she can fly into a headwind, hold position like a kite, use her tail like a rudder, and do these really short wing beats and get a bird's eye view of the whole meadow, because she's a grassland hunter, and then she strikes. And when I was talking about the urine trail, she can see the urine trail. So if a mouse or a bull or something is out there, she can see where they're going and follow the urine like breadcrumbs to a nice meal. She does not have crushing power in her feet like Battle-Beak Thunderclaw does, but she's got a beak like a can opener, let me tell you. Falcons have really, really sharp, specialized beaks. She's really small, so it's hard to see it on her, but on the screen, there is something called a tomial tooth. That's a falcon
Secondary point.
trait. That is for doing cervical dislocations on prey. So she is small but deadly. So if she was hunting an English starling, which is invasive, she might do a quick back to the neck bite and break its neck, and then she'd have a meal. Falcons like to eat other birds. They also, these guys, kestrels, like to eat a lot of insects, so grasshoppers, katydids, that kind of thing. If you look on the back of her head, she's got false eyes, and that is thought to deter a potential predator and trick them into thinking that she's literally got eyes on the back of her head and can't be ambushed or snuck up on. Yeah, but I think she's exquisitely beautiful. And she's very fast, and she's very chirpy, and when she's at home, she goes. The males and the females look different, so that's another way that they're different from owls, okay? Owls, male and females look the same, generally, except size. A male American kestrel, that's it. A male American kestrel is blue, so they have a blue cap and blue on top of their wings, and Astrid's all browns and golds, like fall. And she's beautiful. And she makes that sound when she sees our cat Cheese. She hates him, and he'll sit there and groom in front of her enclosure, because he knows. And she goes, geek, 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 geek. So Astrid also is very territorial with her enclosure. She loves me. She tolerates Chris, but our volunteers, when they go in there to clean her enclosure, she sits on their head the whole time and complains. So, and just fusses. But she eats a lot of mealworms at the house, a lot of katydids and grasshoppers that Chris catches for her. And we're going to try to work up to free fly her at programs. So if you guys come see us again, I'm going to try to get her to fly. And the next bird as well, you guys haven't seen it yet. But she does a whole lot of head bobbing, because she's got all those extra vertebrae too. And see how she's turning her head around? So she's got all those same skills, except at nighttime, she goes to sleep. She pulls one little leg up and tucks her little head under her wings and sleeps until the sun comes out again. She is a total diva, don't be fooled. She is. Oh, she can hear good, but her vision's about 10 times better than ours. So she's pretty astounding and pretty cool. Kestrels aren't doing great in the state of Tennessee right now. She is a grassland hunter. Grasslands are farms. Farms have subdivisions going up all over them now. Yeah, so there is not a whole lot we can do for them, but there are two very important things that we could do that would help bolster their numbers and at least create pocket wildernesses for them. If we can not spray everything with insecticides, because these guys eat insects, okay? She's gonna breathe now, be all fancy. Nest boxes, they love a nest box, just like a screech owl does, because they're small, and bigger birds would try to eat her. So if she can get a nest box and hide and sleep at night unmolested by anything, that's her jam. She has 2 in her enclosure right now. She switches back and forth because she's an Eva queen and has all these extra houses. But if we could stop spraying poison all over everything, that would greatly help these little ones, and putting up nest boxes. If any of you all live out where there's fields, you'll see them, if you've got any, you'll see them sitting on the power lines. If you do see them, put a box up for them. They will move right in. They're super clever little birds, they don't miss much. So if you put a box up, they'll find it pretty quickly.
Is this, a box should be 15 feet as well for this one?
Yes, yeah, and look some things up online, there's a lot of conflicting information, and when you're trying to buy a nest box, I would just buy one from here. A lot of people varnish nest boxes and stuff, you don't really wanna do that, they are super sensitive to all that stuff, most birds are. But if you'll notice, she's constantly preening and cleaning, she has a marble bird bath in her enclosure. And gets in there and, acts like a queen. And she's wonderful, I love her. She's one of my favorites, I love all of them. Hey, you know, how are you doing? He chirping the microphone. No, she did the microphone. Okay, guys, get ready. Woo, showstopper coming.
We haven't changed the slide yet. The barn owl. So this is the barn owl. Her name is Thistle. She's got to check everything out really well. Barn owls. That is actually a friendly conversational tone. I'm hesitant to play their call. It is a terrible, terrifying scream. I think a lot of ghost stories probably originated with barn owls. Somebody walks into a dark barn at night and hears their call. It can be startling if you don't know what you're hearing. I remember hearing one as a child, and it freaked me out, and I left the woods and didn't come back till morning. That is the beautiful call of the barn owl. It does, and you can see how that would probably start some legendary stories.
Some Appalachian ghost stories, no doubt, came from the barn owl. Yeah.
Barn owls are actually in a whole different family than the other owls. All the other owls are in the family Strigidae, or true owls, whereas barn owls are in Titanidae, which is strictly barn owls, although they do exist on every continent except for Antarctica, where there are no owls.
Does that sound coming from her throat? Does it look like her beak?
It's throat-based, I think, but
She twitters too, she'll go.
you'll notice her eyes are not huge like great horned owl's eyes. They don't rely on their vision to hunt very much. They, of course, can see well at night, and somewhat during the day as well, but they're mostly hunt based on hearing. They have some of the best hearing ever tested at Cornell University, and can hunt in near darkness, like in a cave, just by sound alone, so they can hear a mouse's heartbeat.
Is-
Based on that.
Is the undulating neck movement because she's trying to hear, or what is she, or
It is,
balance?
and that's triangulating on the sound, so she also has the uneven ears like Stephen mentioned earlier, so they can hear in 3D with that offset ear arrangement, but she also does a lot of head bobbing and movement, and will turn her head upside down even to pinpoint a sound.
And she's super nosy pants, so she's always looking to get up higher. You all are familiar with the Harry Potter movies. The Harry Potter movies, the owl wrangler said that barn owls learn tricks twice as fast as all the other birds of prey, and it's because they're nosy and really curious, And so she's always doing this.
They are like the kestrel, they are grassland hunters. She just works the night shift, same area though, and they are rodent specialists. So how the other owls have such a wide variety of meals they would enjoy, she prefers mice, rats, and voles, shrews, but very little else.
They're known as the farmer's friend out in the Midwest. They, a local college or university talked the farmers into stop using bait boxes of poison, and they set up barn owl boxes. They said that it's the best pest control they've ever had. They've got extremely large families of barn owls living there now and eating up to 1,000 mice or more per bird per year.
An adult can eat about 1,000 mice a year. I think this one probably has that beat. She's pretty well fed.
This one is beautiful. Barn owls are listed as in need of management in Tennessee for the very same reason that the kestrels are having a hard time. Subdivisions, yeah. So barn owl boxes are about this big, but you gotta have the right habitat for them. So you gotta live probably a little field, a little pasture, that kind of thing. But they love their boxes. Thistle has one, and we've got 2 more barn owls at home, and they are always in their boxes.
If you notice, looking at her feet, how long and thin they are, and the hips come way up here, so very long legs, even for an owl, and long, sharp talons for reaching down into tall grass and plucking those rodents out of the grass. They tend to glide slowly over the field, pinpoint their prey by sound. That's another good reason for the silent flight. It's not just sneaking up on their prey, it's being able to hear their prey over the wing beats. So it's very important for her to be able to hear very clearly where the little mice are. Very different. They're not fully black if you get her out in the sunlight. They're dark brown as well, but they do look pretty black.
I think they look like brown M&Ms. They do, look at them. They're so cute and little.
If you look at her back, you'll see her coloration isn't made to blend into woods, it's made to blend into a wheat field.
Now, this gentleman up here asked a good question and asked if she was releasable. These are our ambassador birds. Any of the wild birds that come in, we're not handling at all, except to give medicine or provide some kind of medical care. Thistle and all of her siblings, I don't know how to say this. Somebody thought it was a really good idea to go and they found the nest and they stole all the owlets out of the nest.
Oh.
But a good person felt bad about what had happened and called and reported them. So Thistle had been in care 2 weeks at that time. So we've had her
Most of the
visit.
damage was done by that
Yeah.
point. She was way too accustomed to people.
But she hadn't been fed a proper diet because all of these birds eat strictly meat, and it has to be clean meat. So she hadn't been cared for properly. She was very afraid. We had to kind of win her over. That's her when she was a baby.
Oh.
She was so little, and Thistle weighs 1.2 pounds. So she's really lightweight. She does not make a sound when she moves in her enclosure, and sometimes if she's like really wanting to interact and I don't have a light in her enclosure, obviously I'll be there fiddling around and she'll fly down and get on my shoulder, and obviously I know it's Thistle, but it's still startling, you know. So, but she is a wonderful ambassador. We have done a lot of rural public library programs, and people are like, I didn't even know about these birds. I'm gonna go home and build a barn owl box. I'm gonna go home and do this and that and make habitat for them, you know, because they need help.
Like she said, as strictly rodent eaters, they are particularly vulnerable to rodenticide or rat poison.
Yes. And look at her little heart-shaped face. She's so cute. Yeah, she's just a good bird. She's just a really good bird.
Did you talk about the clutch that got poisoned?
No, I was getting ready to. This is a terrible story. We had a whole clutch of barn owls living in a silo because they're cavity nesters. They love silos, they love barns, obviously, old abandoned houses. Well, generations of these barn owls have been living in the silo, and the owners of the land love these birds. Well, we got a call, we went out there, and he wasn't using poison, but the industrial park down the road sure was. We had one survivor of a family of 7. The mom and dad, parent birds, were bringing poison food back to their young. So we raised the one surviving owlet and released it with 2 other owlets that we had in care at the time, and we released them up in a barn on Douglas Lake where they would, we think, be safe because there was no property around or anything. Which leads me to, can you change slides? Okay. Let's go ahead and go to evolve, we can go back. Okay, I am pushing this product. I know of a lot of other rehabbers. I just found out about it. I buy it off Amazon. It is birth control for rodents. That's all it is. It is non-lethal to even the rodents. It's cottonseed oil. It makes them infertile. It is temporary. If you stop feeding the bait to mice or rats, they will become fertile again very soon. Okay? But if you've got a fox, a bobcat, a snake, or owls hunting, if they eat a mouse that's had that, they're fine. They're absolutely fine, and it does not make the predator infertile. Okay? It's metabolized very fast by the mouse. We get so many poison birds in a year. The one that I just told you about, the barn owlet, was one bird I've been able to save in 7+ years. That stuff is terrible. We actually had one of our own cats die from rodenticide poisoning. I didn't know it then, but I know all the signs now, and I know that's what it was. When Chris and I bought our house and moved into it, we were cleaning out in the crawl space the other day. We found a 20-year-old bait box under there with poison in it. So your own dogs and your own cats can eat mice and die. I mean, I don't know much that can survive it unless you get it really fast, and then you can run charcoal down them, and it can absorb the poison. But most of the time, by the time we get them, all we can do is help ease their passing and keep them comfortable, which is terrible. The little barn owls that were in the silo, they all had, not to be graphic, but I want everybody to understand how important this is, had streaks of blood where they had hemorrhaged internally, and that's how they died. These beautiful owls had big rivers of blood coming down their breast feathers, and it's from rat poison. If we can use this, it would make a huge difference, especially for the species that are struggling, like barn owls and kestrels. Kestrels eat mice too, they get poisoned. Kestrels eat a lot of insects, and been sprayed with insecticides, they die. Yesterday we were talking about this, I had a couple people come up to me and said that this company wasn't shipping to Tennessee. I mean, there's 4 states in the whole country that says they can't get it for regulatory purposes. That's very vague. I don't know what that means. I called the company and left a message. I should hear back maybe tomorrow, but I'm ordering off of Amazon and they're shipping it to me. I bought 2 bags off of Amazon. So I don't know, maybe you just have to get it from Amazon, I don't know. They have a rat version, which is just bigger sausages. And again, it's cottonseed oil. You don't have to worry about your pets. You don't have to worry about thistle. You don't have to worry about any of that. And you don't have it in your environment, you know. Because I think anytime we put sprays or powders or anything that's poison, it ends up back in us too somehow, you know. Can you back up just for a second? Take the slide back one. But I wanted to tell you guys about that because it's a pretty new product. The EPA is endorsing it, so I think it's a good product. All right, so on roadsides, we've got so many birds hit by cars lately. I used to do this myself. I am guilty. Before I knew better, I would throw my apple cores out and my banana peels out. If you are doing that, you are luring rodents to the road. And what comes for the rodents? These birds of prey. So when they're hunting, they get out on the road and they get hit, and we get so many birds hit by cars.
Probably 75% of the birds we get into care are car strikes.
Yeah, it's a big problem. And I did it too. I would throw because I thought it's biodegradable, it's not hurting anything. I was absolutely hurting things. I just didn't know any better. But when we know better, we do better. So litter, keep that in your car until you get home. Find the alternatives to traditional poison. We just talked about that. Nest boxes all the way, guys. If you live urban, that's cool. You can still have barn owls, you can still have horned owls, you can still have eastern screech owls. They don't mind city living. Just a thought. Anybody that you see doing any kind of wildlife rehab, and this is not just us by any means, they do not get funding. Okay? We now, as bird of prey rehabbers, we have oversight by USDA, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and TWRA. Your mammal rehabbers have state oversight with TWRA. That doesn't matter. I'm just pointing out that they also don't get any funding, and that we should be nice to our rehabbers. You know, people automatically assume that we're getting paid, we do not. We rely on grants and donations, all of it, all rehabbers do. So,
That last slide.
okay. It's a labor of love though, you don't go into this trying to make money, you just wanna break even and keep everybody fed. We buy a lot of rodents, quail, insects for the smaller birds. What all do we feed, Chris? Rodents, quail, rats, mice, trout, lots of fish. Now that we're rehabbing bald eagles, we're feeding loads of trout and also osprey. We rehab osprey and they're 99% fish eaters, so we have to always have that on hand. That's pricey. Quail and fish are really expensive. Okay, so a lot of times when people call us, they have made about 15 phone calls to try to find us. And we get phone calls for stuff besides birds. So if you need help with an animal, any animal, go on tn.gov. They have a tab for wildlife rehabilitators, and it's by region, and it will tell you what they rehab. So you can call them directly. ETWRC is a page on Facebook. That is a rehabber page and transporters. So if you have a hurt, whatever, we have volunteers that will come and pick up the animal most of the time. Animal Help Now, you put your zip code in on their website and it will pull up all rehabbers by zip code. And it could save a life. You know, if you have a hurt bird or a whatever, a fox, you need to get it into care, not hang on to it 2 or 3 days, you know. But a lot of people can't find anybody. So I hope that's a resource for you all. I think if we all work together, we can make a huge difference for all of our wildlife, but especially birds of prey. You guys, thank you. Thank you.